Hey, what is up, everybody? In today's video, I'm going to be going through my entire Nintendo Wii game collection as of 2024. So I've had my Wii since the fall of 2010, around October or so. That's when I managed to get myself one after spending a great deal of time convincing my parents to get it. We spent months saving for it, and when it came time to buy it, I was fortunate enough to have a relative gift me a couple of gift cards, which helped pay for the system, which was really nice. So I'm really grateful for that. So as for the games themselves, well, my collection has changed quite a lot in the last 14 years. It's expanded and contracted a lot, and it's only recently started expanding a bit more. For a while, it kind of just stayed small because I haven't really been playing with my Wii. Although I have recently gone back and tried a couple of games here and there from time to time, which I will get into brief in a moment. But without further ado, let's actually start off with the games. And of course, we can't talk about the Wii without talking about these two games, Wii Sports and Wii Sports Resort. Of course, everybody's played Wii Sports. Wii Sports Resort, just as popular. I actually prefer this over Wii Sports in a lot of ways because it has more games, and also the Wii Motion Plus makes things a bit more accurate as well. Yeah, so these were pack-in titles. I am aware that there were other bundles as well. One included New Super Mario Brothers Wii, along with Wii Sports, I think. There was the Wii Mini that came with Mario Kart Wii. But the one I got happened to have Wii Sports and Wii Sports Resort, as well as the Wii Motion Plus accessory, which was required or is required to play Wii Sports Resort or any of the new games that used it. I really don't have much else to say other than I spent so much time in both these titles, especially Wii Sports Resort. I really like the island on the in the game, like Wahoo Island. It's such a great setting, and I really hope they bring it back for more Nintendo games. It really is a really nice place. But yeah, these are the pack-in games. Next up, we have Wii Fit. Oh, sorry. We have Wii Fit and Wii Fit and its expanded version, Wii Fit Plus. I only got this out of obligation. Well, actually, no. I got this because a bunch of people on Facebook Marketplace were selling it in a bundle, in a lot. Sorry, and so I picked it up that way. I actually did a video on these two games previously. This one I think I got at a pawn shop. This one I got through a lot not too long ago. These games, of course, sold I think millions of copies, I believe, but also has also meant that with their success and along with the Wii, this also meant you see a lot of we continue to see a lot of Wii balance boards selling for pennies on the dollars at a lot of thrift stores. I mean, I was actually at one not too long ago, and yeah, there's plenty of Wii balance boards there. I actually have been thinking about getting one, but of course, the only reason I'm hesitant is it's not, obviously people have used it, so it's not in the greatest of shape, but it also takes up a lot of space as well. It really does. But I actually have been meaning to get it. Maybe I'll get it. I'll just get it. Just get it and just to have it soon. But until then, these games are basically, they're basically unusable. I can't use them. Okay, so let's actually get some games. This whole rack of games out of the way. So I actually bought a bunch of Just Dance games earlier this year. Also did a video on that. if you haven't already seen this. Well, basically, I bought a whole bunch of games, a whole bunch of these Just Dance games at a convention. The guy was basically um, offered to sell it all to me, and I decided, you know what, I might as well get all of it since he's offering. But also, video game prices, especially at thrift stores, have gone up a bit. So hey, it's $5. It's not too bad of a deal. Plus, I'm basically getting a free soundtrack on a disc, which is something that is becoming increasingly, I guess, less common. And in the case of the Just Dance game specifically, um, they've moved to a subscription based model. So they still have like yearly editions, but the problem is they treat it more like a battle pass, if you know what that is, versus an actual game. So they have physical editions of of every year still, but the problem is um, it's just a code in a box. There's no cartridge or disc whatsoever, which um, honestly is kind of insulting. I mean, you buy a physical game to get a disc or cartridge, and yet you don't even bother to do that. It's ridiculous. You print That's such a waste of plastic too. But fortunately, all these games you see here, they're on the disc. Obviously, they actually went pretty far in releasing this game on the on on the Wii. Like they released, I think the last game ever released was Just Dance 2020, which came out at the tail end of 2019. And the only reason they stopped producing these games for Wii was simply because Nintendo no longer had the means of producing discs, which is a bit of a pity. I mean, I would have loved to have seen, just for the sake of it, sake of novelty, Ubisoft continuing to release Just Dance games on Wii, but unfortunately it isn't meant to be. And I heard they actually started using a new engine anyways, so those old they probably would have had trouble getting it on Wii. But yeah. Oh yeah, it's also worth mentioning the online modes for these games. They're all shut down now, so that's a bit unfortunate. So you can't play online multiplayer, assuming they had any, but you also can't download any of the songs included. So I have here, it says here that there's a free song download, but unfortunately you can't get that no more, as well as some other in-game stuff, which is unfortunate. It's an unfortunate consequence of the digital future we live in. Okay, let's actually, oh yeah, I mentioned this earlier, New Super Mario Bros. Wii. This was a pack-in title for a lot of Wii consoles. But assuming you did not get it as part of the pack-in bundle, the game came in a red case at launch, but then later editions got rid of the red case, and now you have this white one, but with the red branding still on it. A lot of people give the New Super Mario Brothers line of games a lot of flack for feeling a bit too, I guess, safe or sanitized. But I mean, they're fine enough platformers as is. I mean, there's got to be a reason why these things sell millions, right? I mean, obviously Mario is a pretty big, popular brand, but even that can't save him from his own fair share of flops, like Mario and Luigi Bowser's Inside Story remake on 3DS. Okay, let's moving on. Oh, yeah, so another first-party title, which I actually got recently, Metroid Other M. This is a bit of a black sheep in the series because this thing tried to do some new things, like switching between 2D and 3D gameplay, as well as having voice acting in the series for the first time. But unfortunately, it didn't quite work out. And yeah, this is a bit of a it's a black sheep of the series, not counting Federation Force. Looking back, yeah, I can see the anime inspiration for the story and especially Samus, and yeah, it does not translate very well into in non-anime video games, sadly. But yeah, Metroid Other M. The only game I've actually beaten in the Metroid franchise is Super Metroid on the Switch Online service. So hopefully it won't be too long until I play another Metroid game. I've been thinking of getting Metroid Prime Remastered, but I'm kind of thinking of maybe holding off until they release the whole trilogy on Switch at some point, or the Switch successor. But yeah, Metroid Other M. It's now in my collection. This one's a shovelware title. Yeah, you're going to be seeing quite a few of these. I bought this at a place called Zellers, which unfortunately no longer exists. I mean, it kind of got revived recently, but it's no longer a department store. But yeah, I bought this years ago with with another game called Carnival Mini Golf, I believe. Yeah, this game's not very good, but hey, I still have it in my collection anyways, and it's also compatible with the Wii Wheel, which doesn't really mean much. Developer in question, yeah, they're Zoo or whatever. Yeah, not a great developer, sadly. They haven't produced any like AAA qual or any seriously good games, sadly, as far as I can tell. So yeah, it's just kind of sitting in my collection. Okay, next bundle of games is the Skylanders franchise. So for those of you who don't know, the franchise was originally pitched to Nintendo as a Nintendo exclusive, and the first couple of titles were actually developed with the Wii hardware in mind. But starting with like the third game or so, that's when they started developing around around the PS3 and Xbox 360 hardware a bit more, which explains why the Wii versions start to deteriorate a bit. Like Trap Team, I'm being told, does not look all that great, and Skylanders Superchargers Racing, the last entry released on Wii, is a very basically just took the racing portions from the flagship editions of the games and they basically just made one big racing game and called it that. Funny enough, I think the Wii version is basically just a port of the 3DS version, and the 3DS version in of itself, all of them, I should say, all the 3DS versions are completely different games. So this is like the first time that the handheld version got ported to consoles, which is interesting. And yeah, you couldn't tell? You got Bowser on the cover. Yeah, this is around 2015. That's when Nintendo decided, you know what, we probably made a mistake not making this exclusive on Nintendo hardware. So they made a deal with Activision to have Bowser and Donkey Kong in the game. So in the Wii and 3DS version, the starter packs, that is, you got Bowser, and in the Wii U version you got Donkey Kong, which is neat. And the figures themselves actually function as both Amiibo and Skylanders, which is really nice. I have them in my collection. They even have dark variants, which are very, very hard to get nowadays, and I had to pay a pretty penny just to get them. Oh yeah, and here's the box for the Wii version. It's pretty big, and I actually did a video on this many years ago. Costed me just $10. Price tag says 30, but I got this for 10, which is an amazing deal considering I basically got a Bowser amiibo included, which is awesome. So yeah, that's the Skylanders franchise. I've heard word that they might bring it back. I mean, I'm actually open to them bringing it back. I'm sure a lot of people who, even though I haven't finished a single entry for the console version, that is, I wouldn't mind seeing it come back at some point. We could really use some physical DLC these days, especially in light of the fact that we have all these microtransactions in games. Because I mean, at least with the figures, you're getting, at least with Skylanders, you get a physical figure that you can hold in your hand. But with Fortnite skins, yeah, it's just a digital a digital costume, and that's it. But anyways, enough of Skylanders. Let's move on. I have another licensed game here, Madagascar 2: Escape to Africa. This came part of as a gaming lot. This is, of course, based on the Madagascar 2 movie released back in 2009. Apparently, this actually had a different title, and the reason I know this is because when I loaded up Kung Fu Panda, the video game, it had an advertisement for this game, but it had a different title in it. So yeah, that's interesting. As for the game itself, Honestly, guys, it's a licensed game. What can I say? They're not the greatest of qualities. Maybe they're fine for kids, but for an adult, really, it's really, you have no reason to play them. Next up, we have we got Mario, of course, Super Mario Galaxy 1 and 2. Some of the best, some of the best 3D Mario games ever made. I mean, then again, all the 3D Mario games are great. This one in particular, the first one, has been re-released as part of the 3D All-Stars pack, but the second game is still stuck on the Wii, unfortunately. And a lot of people were very sad and upset that the second game wasn't included in the 3D All-Stars pack, which is rather unfortunate. They could have very much included this, but I guess Yoshi may have been a problem, to implement, because the Switch obviously doesn't have doesn't use the motion bar, so that might cause some issues. I don't know exactly. But yeah, speaking of the 3D All-Stars, we have Super Mario All-Stars. Yeah, this is basic. I got this for $6, and basically this is just a re-release of Super Mario All-Stars on Super Nintendo, but just for the Wii, which is neat. It's like one of the very first video game compilations that ever existed, or remasters, I should say, remastered compilations. Comes with remastered versions of Super Mario Brothers 1, 2, Super Mario Brothers, Lost Levels 2 and 3, with the Super Mario World makeover, which is really awesome. So yeah, that's neat. Next up, of course, I have Super Smash Bros. Brawl with a cover that I printed myself because the game, for some reason, didn't come with one. But yeah, Super Mario. Yeah, this is a lot of people obviously don't hold this in the greatest regards, depending on who you ask, of course, because of course, hardcore fans don't like it for the tripping mechanic, amongst many other things. But hey, the one good thing that this thing has over some of the more recent games is the single player mode, specifically Subspace Emissary. We could really use another Subspace Emissary, guys. Hopefully it happens. Who knows? Okay. Okay. Let's see what else we have here. Okay. So we got Sonic and the Secret Rings, Sonic and the Black Knight, and Sonic Colors. Sonic and the Secret Rings obviously has seen better days. It's not in great shape. But yeah, these two games were on rails types of games. So Sonic's constantly moving. Well, you have to move left and right on the control stick, and yeah, they're very hit and miss titles. So I know some people really like Black Knight, but it's got its issues. But both these games have their issues with controls. Sonic Colors, on the other hand, this is considered like one of the best 3D Sonic games ever, and honestly, I really like this game. With that said, the remaster that came out a couple years ago or so, yeah, it was a bit of a step down in a lot of ways, and you could argue that I would. It pains me to say this, but yeah, the Nintendo Wii version is probably it's probably better than the Switch version overall, because with the Wii version, it feels more technically stable, but also you can actually play as your Miis in this, which is something you cannot do in the Switch version for some reason. Oh yeah, and I know now the online mode is no longer functional, but when it was working, you had an online leaderboard in this. Switch version doesn't have that. But yeah, it's a bit. Yeah, if I had to recommend Sonic Colors, I would say the Wii version is fine, is perfectly fine. It's sad. It's sad to know that a lot of Sonic remasters aren't better. Like Sonic Adventure 1 and 2 apparently have issues, and so of course we have Sonic Cross Shadow Generations coming out, and I'm hoping that turns out fine. But we'll see. Next up, we have Mario Kart Wii. I actually paid full price for this back then when I got it. Obviously, it comes with the Wii wheel back then, which is honestly kind of unnecessary now because you can just very easily just tilt the controller left and right. But hey, you know, Nintendo successfully managed to sucker me into that. Yeah, this is, well, I mean, what can I say? This is a great, I actually played this, went back and replayed this recently. It's a really great game still. I wouldn't mind, honestly, if Nintendo ported this over to the Switch. Just you know, just for the sake of having it. I know Mario Kart 8 brought over a lot of the tracks from this game, but honestly, I wouldn't mind if they just let us just play Mario Kart Wii in its original form, you know, with added online multiplayer. But this is Nintendo we're talking about. They don't do a lot of things that fans want, necessarily. I mean, we had to wait 20 years for Paper Mario Thousand Year Door to get a remaster or a remake. Okay, so let's go over these two games. Yeah, Wii Play and Wii Party. I got Wii Party as a Christmas present from a relative. Had a lot of fun with this one. Wii Play, yeah, this definitely feels like a tech demo for sure. And in fact, it was actually a launch title in some areas of the world, but not in America. But yeah, Wii Party had a lot of fun with this one. Yeah. Finally, we get to the last three games, and they're all third-party titles. Yeah, a lot of people say that the Wii was full of shovelware, but it also had some pretty good third-party games. And actually, no, sorry. Sin and Punishment Star Successor. This is actually a first-party title, and it's actually a sequel to an N64 game. I haven't actually tried this yet. I should probably do that at some point. Next up, we have Knight's Journey of Dreams. This is a sequel to a Sega Saturn game. I played it. I thought it was fine, although I had some issues with the controls. I actually rebought this recently. I previously had it, but then I traded it away for some reason. I traded it because I finished it, but now I rebought it, so now I have it back in my collection. And just in time, too, because apparently the franchises, I think Sega has been reviving a lot of their old franchises, so maybe this might get another entry if it hasn't already been announced. Next up, we have Shaun White Snowboarding Road Trip. I actually tried this out. It's actually kind of fun. Yeah. So this is one of the few games that uses the Wii balance board, which is neat. It's a bit unfortunate. You know, you would think that Shaun White would get more video games like Tony Hawk, but no, he got a handful of titles and that was it. Apparently, snowboarding didn't stick around didn't have as much staying power as skateboarding. And then finally, we have our last title. This one actually has a box art which I printed myself, but yeah, it's Splinter Cell Double Agent for the Wii. Depending on who you ask, so the Wii version itself is actually based on the last gen version of the game, which is completely different from the HD version. And the Wii version is basically just like the GameCube version, but with forced motion controls. Like you cannot use anything but the motion controls. So if you don't like the motion controls, you're better off with like the PS2, Xbox, or heck, even the GameCube version. Assuming, yeah, I think it also got a GameCube release. So yeah, but I have it in my collection now, and yeah, Splinter Cell. What can I say? Splinter Cell Double Agent. It's a shame the franchise has laid dormant for the last decade, but who knows? Maybe we'll get another entry soon. Finally, the last two games I have here are Wii versions of third-party titles, those being Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare, or specifically Call of Duty Modern Warfare Reflex Edition for Wii. It's missing the 4 in the title for some reason, but yeah, it's the Wii version of Modern Warfare, but it's basically just Modern Warfare, but only with motion controls. So if you don't like motion controls, this version is not for you. And of course, I have Star Wars: The Force Unleashed 2. I already showed these off in a very recent video, but if you haven't seen that video, yeah, I got these two games very recently. This one's actually from a pawn shop. This one was from a store that was a game store that was having a 2-for-5 sale. So I got this one for about $2.50. And this one was part of a 3-for-10 deal. So let's briefly go over all my loose games, of which there are only about 6 in total. So I have here The Blob 2, developed published by THQ, which is now known as THQ Nordic or Embracer Group. This game has been re-released, but at the time I heard this game got a pretty relatively positive reception. So yeah, um, I guess it's a nice game to have in your collection. Although I haven't actually played it, so don't take my word on that just yet. Next up, we have Link's Crossbow Training. So this was a pack-in game or a sort of demo or whatever that came with the Wii Zapper, which was an accessory that was heavily promoted with the Nintendo Wii. And this basically uses the Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess assets, but in the form of a shooting gallery base mini game. Not really much else to say other than that. But yeah, it's one of those neat little things that kind of existed back then when Nintendo was really trying to push the Wii Zapper. And it worked for a while, anyways, until everyone realized they didn't have to use the Wii Zapper. Next up, we have Red Steel. This was one of the big third-party games, from my understanding. I honestly have yet to play this, and it was it was published by Ubisoft. That's interesting. But yeah, Red Steel. I don't know if they actually remastered this on Switch, but hopefully they do if they haven't already. But we'll see. Next up, we have this one's from a franchise that's been long dormant. Medal of Honor's Heroes 2, released on Wii. This game came out in 2007. I think it also got a PS2 release as well. Yeah, Medal of Honor, of course, has been laid dormant because, of course, EA has decided to focus on the Battlefield franchise instead. Because why would they need two first-person shooters when they can just use one, right? When they only need one, especially since they're just going to cannibalize each other's sales. Although it's kind of ironic that I say that, considering after they discontinued the franchise in 2012, they immediately made the mistake I should say, of releasing Titanfall 2 too close to Battlefield 1's release, which ended up hurting Titanfall 2 sales. But yeah, getting back to this game, I don't have much to say other than this is one of those games that was released in that era um, where it was pretty common to have Wii games that were also given PS2 ports, since the PS2 itself was a very popular system. So they just decided, you know what, we have this very popular game franchise being put out, having a new entry on Wii. Might as well put it out on the PS2 as well, since that's still selling really well. And the PlayStation 3 is also a pain to work with. Next two entries. Okay, next one we have Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Winter Games. I got this for a measly $5, and I was so shocked to see this because I thought that you know Mario games tend to hold their values, but for some reason this one was just selling for $5. And yeah, I really do like the Olympic Games. I especially like the DS version of this. The Wii version I haven't put nearly as much time into. I've actually been meaning to go back and play it, but yeah. Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Winter Games. We have yet to actually get a Winter Games since 10 years now. Actually, yeah, they made they did a version for Rio 2016 on Wii U, um, which was based on the Summer Games, and then they did Tokyo 2020, but then they skipped 2018, and then they also skipped 2022, which is a bit odd. I'm really curious as to why they haven't been doing any Olympic Winter Games since Sochi. Is it political? I don't know, but yeah, this is probably the best Winter Games, uh, Mario and Sonic Winter Games title, honestly. Both Wii and DS, I should say. next up. Oh yeah. Especially since this one has dream events. The dream events are always awesome to go through. This one in particular actually has you playing through Radical Highway from Sonic Adventure 2, which is awesome, on a snowboard no less, which is really neat. And finally, the last game I have is Need for Speed: The Run. Now I mentioned earlier that they produced a lot of Wii games ended up on PS2. This is the bit of the opposite, because this was basically just the 3DS version that was ported over to the Wii, and it definitely shows with how it plays. This game ended up not doing very well critically on the Wii or 3DS for that matter, and yeah, of course it didn't, because this game uh, was was not based on the flagship edition. It was completely different. But hey, it's a Need for Speed game nonetheless, and now I have it in my collection. I've been actually trying to get as many of these Need for Speed games as I can, just because of the nature of these racing games. It's hard to, if not impossible, to re-release them due to licensing issues regarding the music or cars. So might as well pick it up while I can. But yeah, like, comment, and subscribe, and take care.